So a couple months ago, this guy I know was like, "Hey Ben, you want to go see the new Ghibli?" Um, and I was like, "Oh shit, there's a new Ghibli movie." But that wasn't true. It was actually an old Ghibli movie that was had I guess it had just been translated or something. It was being released in North America. It's called Only Yesterday. It's from 1991, but they just fucking gave it an American release in 2016, and it was playing at this local like little theater. And I'm a cool hip art guy, and I was like, I should go and see the American release of this new but not really Ghibli film at this little independent theater in Cambridge or wherever it was. So we hopped on the Green Line or something, and we went and we saw it. We sat down and watched Only Yesterday, and it was okay. I guess it was good. Watch it, I guess. But it kind of sucked. It was I don't know. It's divided into these two. It's split up. It's an adult woman going on a trip to this farm. She's doing like, I guess she's like taking a vacation or something, and she's taken some time off, and she's going to visit this farm and do farm work for like a couple weeks or something. But while she's on the trip, she's reminiscing about her childhood. She's all nostalgic, and she's remembering all these childhood memories. And so the movie is split up between when she's an adult on this farm talking to the other like people that live on this farm, and memories of childhood, and remembering like her parents and like what she was like as a little girl and her struggles and kid shit. So like, no holds barred. No, there's no two ways about it. The kid parts are way better. The kid parts are the reason to watch the movie. They're wicked cute, and they're real funny sometimes. I mean, they're not all funny. It's not all like sweet and lighthearted. It's drama. It's like, it's got a whole emotional range. Like there's a part where she's real. There's a whole lot of like fucking hardship and suffering about the fact that she's really bad at math. Like she can't do math, and it causes her family a lot of strife because she's like failing math and stuff. And there's the scene where like, they're all really excited to taste pineapple. I think it's a pineapple, and they're all like, "Ooh, it smells good. Ooh, we've never had a pineapple before." And there's a big build up, and then they eat the pineapple. It's like, and everyone's disappointed. It's not as good as they thought it would be. Um, the best character in the movie is the class president from when she was a kid. She's just this fucking bossy pants ninamori ass girl who's like all goody two shoes, teacher's pet, and she's real bullish about protecting the I don't know, the integrity of her elementary school class or whatever. And there's like a scene where they have like a class debate about lunch or something, like about the policy of like whether you should be allowed to like throw out the foods you don't want, like whether you have to eat your milk, whether you have to drink your milk. I don't know, there's some shit about whether you got to drink your milk. And she like passionately argues, like she puts out this really convincing argument, um because no, it's not about the milk. It's about whether a hall monitor should, because hall monitors prevent people from running. So the question is whether a hall monitor themselves should be punished for running after someone who is running because they want to stop them from running. And she puts out this argument. She's like, of course, like, no, of course the hall monitor should run to stop a runner because a police car speeds in order to stop a speeding car. And everyone's like, oh, everyone's really convinced, and she's real fucking satisfied with herself, and well, she should be. That was a great scene. A lot of the kid scenes are really great and memorable like that. And there's a part where like she almost gets scouted to be like a child TV star, but then her fucking shitty dad. I mean, I kind of like the dad, but he does a really shitty thing because like he doesn't want his kid to be a TV star, so he just fucking ruins that for her, and it's real frustrating. So, but it's all presented very. There's all these like fun visualizations and stuff. Like there's the part where the boy that she likes at school talks to her, and I think they kind of agree. It seems like they like each other, and like after they have that conversation, she's like, she's running home, but then she just starts running up into the sky, and she just like flies around, and it's all very nice and lovely and fun, and it's good. Those parts are great, and they're way different in tone from the adult parts. I mean, partially just because, childhood, different aesthetic or whatever. Also, apparently, the movie is based on a manga, which is only about the child parts, and the adult parts were just kind of added later as like sort of a connecting tissue, as like a way to stitch the childhood scenes from the manga together. And yet, I think the movie is like at least half the adult stuff. So like the movie, it's not like it's like an even split, right? Like the good part is the kid part, but there's all this adult part too. I mean, the adult part is not bad. It's not terrible or anything, but it's not fun like the kid part. Um, and it's awkward a lot of the time. Like the characters are, I guess they're like late 20s. Like the girl is 27, and she, what can I say about her? She really bugged me in a lot of ways, and in a lot of ways I didn't like her. It annoys me that she seems so into her childhood memories. Like there's a part where she remembers her childhood crush. After the part where she flies up into the air because she's so happy that the boy confesses to her, or not really, but same, that's the idea. And she's like just laying in bed on the train, I think, to go to this farm, and she's like wee, ah, like she's wicked happy having that memory. And I get it that it's a happy memory, but like, you're 27, man. Like, what? This is when you were like 8. I don't know. Maybe it's normal. Maybe it's normal to like get happy thinking about shit that happened when you were 8. But like, for fuck's sake, you were 8 years old. And then, I mean, throughout the movie, even when it's not just her privately, like right the very end, like I think that one of the final scenes of the movie, she's in the car talking to the guy who works at the farm, and she's telling this story about when she was a kid, and like, who fucking cares? Who fucking cares what happened to you when you were 8? I'm sorry. Maybe I'm the problem and this is just not the movie for me. But like, you're 27. Who the fuck cares what happened to you when you were 8? If you want to cherish those happy memories, go ahead. But don't fucking bore this guy, the sort of romantic lead sort of in the movie. Don't bore him, and don't bore me with like talking about it like it's still fucking relevant in your life, lady. I don't know. That part annoyed me, but like, all right, it's not all bad. It's not all bad. Wait, no, she's not 8. She's in 5th grade, so she's like, I don't know how Japanese classes work. I mean, she's like, the other girls in her class are getting their periods, so maybe she's like 12, whatever. It doesn't matter. Anyway, as an adult, all right. So the one big thing I don't like about the adult parts is that the faces are all drawn realistically, and like too realistically, because like they put too many lines in their faces. When the adult character is especially the main character, when she smiles, she gets these big lines on her face and on her cheeks, and she looks fucking old. Like like the way they draw the character's face, she looks really old sometimes. I mean, I get that she's not young exactly, but I don't know. I don't like the way that they drew the face sometimes. And yeah, that happens all throughout the adult sections. Couldn't take my eyes off it. And like the dialogue in the adult sections, it's very awkward and stilted. And like throughout the whole film, I couldn't shake the feeling that none of the characters were really that invested in the conversations they were having. Like, especially when the girl is talking to the guy. There's a guy, right? It's sort of a romance, but not really, but kind of, with this guy who works on this farm she's visiting, sort of. And like, whenever she's talking to him, I never felt like they really cared that much about what they were saying. It really felt, the whole movie felt like exchange of pleasantries, like they were just fucking being polite to each other. I totally did not buy into the fact that these were falling in love, and like I don't even think the movie was trying to make me feel like they were falling in love, because like that's just not how it feels. Like, the guy just won't shut the fuck up about organic farming. Like, every fucking time he opens his goddamn mouth, he has to put in some shitty thing about, yep, organic farming. Yeah, by the way, have I mentioned my farm is organic? Hey, let me tell you about how, man, organic farming is difficult, but it sure is rewarding. Have I told you about how difficult it is, though? But man, so rewarding. And also, fuck, organic farming. Fuck. I hate him. I don't hate him. I don't hate him, but he's definitely not attractive, right? I feel like this is not like a really this is not a really an attractive character that's being painted for me here. This is like, I guess this is the point, right? I guess they were going for like a realistic situation and a realistic guy who is not some Prince Charming by any means. He's a fucking dweeb. I guess he's handsome enough. I guess he's fine looking. But he's boring. He's boring, and he talks about organic farming, and like the girl responds with politeness and like, "Oh, organic farming? I see. It's great that you're into that." That's the vibe that I get between these two. Which is like fine. That's fine, but it feels really weird when, spoiler alert, at the end of the movie, I think she fucking marries him. And it's like the ending is weird and kind of ambiguous, but I'm pretty sure that what happens, no, hang on. I'm getting ahead of myself. So, all right. Another thing that bugged me about the main character is that she's here on this farm, and she's doing farm work, right? And she's kind of like, oh, she's like getting acquainted with the lifestyle of these farmers, and yes, it's an authentic, it's an authentic Japanese countryside farming experience or whatever. She's farming these flowers for their petals that they make dye out of. It's kind of interesting. The scenes that actually go into like the way this farm works and like the flowers, like the whole process of farming these flowers and turning it into this red dye is pretty cool and well animated and beautiful, and I really like it. But this girl is here, and she's like a city girl, right? And she's here on vacation, right? And like every day she's going out and she's working these fields, but this is a vacation for her. And the whole movie, I'm like, she's talking to these people, like she's sort of pretending to engage them on their own terms, and like she's like pretending that she's one of them, but it's all an affectation, because like when the time's up, she's going back to the city, she's going back to her shitty desk job, and she's a fucking normie is what I'm saying. She's a goddamn normie, and she knows it, right? And I'm like, she's just some hipster idiot she just wants to be cool and have an authentic countryside farmhand experience. Like, ooh, what a quirky thing to do. What an experience. But I have to admit, one of my favorite things about the movie was it really pleasantly surprised me when later on in the film, she has that very revelation about herself. Like, I think the man and the woman that own the farm, I think their son is like the guy who won't shut up about organic farming. And at one point, I think the mom tries to suggest that maybe they could like get married. It's like an old world, like, marry my son, kind of like trying to arrange a marriage sort of thing. Not really, but like a little bit, like, I guess she likes the girl, and she's like, hey, you and my son would make a good couple. And the dad is like, oh, but she's a year older, and she's a city girl. She doesn't want to live out here. And the mom is like, well, why not? I'm just asking. And then she is like, well, shit, man. Now that like that makes it real to her. Like when she suddenly has to consider it from like, consider that possibility of like spending her whole life here in this fucking farm life, that's when she's like, oh shit, I've just been fucking pretending this whole time. I'm a fucking poser. This isn't real. I'm just putting this on. It's all an affectation. It's all bullshit. And I was like, oh man, that really redeemed the movie. Like I might have hated this movie if not for the fact that at some point she has that realization about herself. Cause like, I don't know, it was really great, really refreshing. Breathe a sigh of relief, quite honestly. So yeah, so that's the way the movie goes. Like it has this kind of stilted, awkward dialogue where nobody seems that engaged with what's going on, and she has this realization, like, this isn't really me, this isn't really who I am, I'm just pretending. And that's what made it such a weird curveball, that like she leaves the farm at the end, but then I think she like fucking turns around and comes back and marries the guy. And I'm like, what, why? I thought your whole, I thought her arc was discovering that this wasn't who she was. And then, so is it supposed to be, has she grown as a person and that growth has allowed her to see that this is this what she wanted all along? It didn't seem like it. Like, and it's not like I was convinced that she was swayed to this lifestyle by, her love for the guy or by the connection she built with that guy. Because like I said, it never really felt that good. At the very end, they have this kind of like this like childhood chat in the car, right? Like the guy, like, I think like the guy likes her, but he understands, like, she wants to go back, and like he can't do it. There's nothing he can do about it. So he's like accepting it. He's like, I like you, but if you don't, I understand if you don't want to stay. So just do what you have to do. And then they have this talk, and she talks about some kid when she was a kid. It's just some of her shitty childhood memory, and that's the part I'm like, who fucking cares about your childhood memory? How is it relevant? Oh, it was what, sad. Who cares? I totally did not see the relevance of that scene to the present day. And then I guess I'm supposed to believe that scene and that conversation somehow convinced her, like, no, maybe this is what I want, but I totally don't see it. It's just not germane. Basically, I'm saying that I think the movie would have made a lot more sense to me if she had just gone home, right? And not come back. I don't understand why she came back. Seems it just kind of seemed like it was going for like a happy, sweet ending that didn't feel earned to me. I guess that's what I'm saying. The happy, sweet, feel good romance ending just did not feel earned by the movie, and it's a shame. I think the movie would have been much more satisfying if it had just been content to be this kind of grounded, sort of kind of bummer story about how, like, adult life is kind of bullshit and not fun like a kid, because like the adult sections kind of stand in sort of somber contrast to like the fun and wacky, although often, bittersweet and sad sometimes, childhood memories. So I don't know. Yeah, that sucks. That's gay. I also, there's a part where she and like another girl that works on the farm talk about how their dads hit them. That's really fun. She remembers the one time her dad hit her, and then she's like, "Yep, that was a memory I had." And this other girl's like, "My dad hits me all the time." And she's like, "Oh, that's better. It's better that he hits you all the time, because like if he only hits you once, then like it's weird and it's like emotionally damaging. But if he hits you all the time, then it's just like, oh, whatever." And the girl's like, "Yep, you're right." Like she fucking agrees with that. I'm sorry, but what the fuck? That part's awful. I feel like this movie is for people who are a lot more sentimental than me. Like I really can't get behind how much the main character cares about the events of her own childhood. It annoys me and I hate it. And like, I'm fine with her reminiscing, but yeah, I think the movie attempts to turn on this final scene in the car of her. It's her telling the story about when she was a kid, about this guy she knew, this kid who was mean to her, and she never realized that it actually meant the guy liked her or whatever. And the guy is like, "Oh well, obviously he just liked you, but women never know when a guy likes them." It's like he's kind of sulky about it. Like, the girl is like kind of dumb and overly sentimental and not that self-aware most of the time, and just not that smart, in my humble opinion. Like, she doesn't pick up on much. And the guy is a fucking dweeb who won't shut up about organic farming, and he's kind of a passive aggressive pissy bitch about the fact that the girl he likes doesn't like him back. And yeah, fuck these characters. Fuck this movie. It's great though, and you should watch it. Actually, no, I don't know. If you're a sappy, sentimental asshole like the characters in this movie, I'm sure you'll fucking love it. Me on the other hand, I'm too smart. I'm too smart and worldly and cool for the pleasures that this movie attempts to offer me. This movie tries to offer me a sweet and sentimental and beautiful experience, and I'm too cool, and I turn my nose up and I spit in it, right? Cuz I'm too good for it. I'm too good to enjoy myself. I'm too good for fun and feelings. And so yeah, see this movie if you're a fucking idiot, loser, sentimental asshole, you piece of shit. 7 out of 10.